this is Surya Sahan. Welcome to the Insurtech podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruptions, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstory.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, Google, Audible, and Amazon Music. Today, we will discuss on the topic building and optimizing data strategies in the BFSI industry with a great focus on the insurance segment. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Shiraz Ritwik, who is the head of BFSI, CPG and hospitality growth at Latent View Analytics. Shiraz is an accomplished business consultant and analytics professional currently leading BFSI and CPG and hospitality growth at Latent View Analytics. With a global presence in the US, EMEA, and India, he has helped Fortune 100 companies in sectors like BFSI, telecom, retail, and CPG to achieve significant business impact. At Latent View Analytics, Shiraz drives AI/ML transformation for Fortune 500 organizations, helping them meet their data and AI objectives. His expertise spans around marketing strategy, supply chain analytics, strategic sourcing, and IT outsourcing. A pioneer in data strategy for financial services, Shiraz also excels in converting data into actionable insights, revolutionizing the CPG sector's innovation approach. So, Shiraz, a warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, Surya. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Always a pleasure. To discuss today's topic primarily on the data strategy front, which is such an important aspect in today's AI first world. My first question to you is, what are some of the key problems that you are observing for in the insurance sector in particular, who are really trying to solve their day-to-day problem statements with AI and analytics?
Certainly. This is a great question, Surya, because the insurance sector has been in flux for the last, I would say, a couple of years at least, post-pandemic. And the kinds of challenges that are coming through are really about, I would break them down into two broad themes. One is efficiency, and the other is customer experience. And as it pertains to how insurance is doing business today, I think the reason why efficiency is really coming up is because if we look at least at the North American market, there are extreme changes in terms of the pricing, whether we look at auto insurance, whether we look at home insurance. Costs to the consumer are really going up, which means that there is ever more switching activity. There is a need to be able to service claims at a lower cost as well for the insurers. So from both perspectives, whether it is customer facing or whether it is internal operations, it becomes very important to be able to drive high levels of efficiency in terms of your standard activities, like whether we talk about claims, whether we talk about underwriting and others. And the second is on the CX side, it becomes more than ever important to connect with your customer, not only when you're looking to acquire customers, but more importantly, once the claim comes in. Because one thing we've heard repeatedly from our insurance clients is, the claims experience for customers can never be amazingly positive, because they are coming to you at a time when they're already in trouble, and it is important to be able to service that with as little friction as possible for them. At the same time, ensuring that you're able to weed out the cases of fraud, as while ensuring that you provide the most excellent service to the genuine cases. So from those two perspectives, I think efficiency in operations like claims adjudication and underwriting takes precedence, and then being able to deliver the best customer experience, whether in acquisition or in service, takes precedence. Those, I would say, are the top problems. Not to say that other challenges like, okay, how do I integrate Gen AI into my day-to-day operations? Those are also true, but they're not they are not what is leading the exploration for newer ways to deliver work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Gen AI use case, which you just mentioned, it's a very relevant one because it's very interesting to see how it's taking shape from a boardroom topic to really on the execution side of it. And the more you apply, the more you execute, you really, you know, try and come with the real life challenges that insurers, for instance, would face when leveraging such technology. Um,
And indeed, you sorry,
yes, please go ahead.
I thought what you were saying was extremely topical, Surya, because if you think about the challenges in developing and adopting uh, relevant Gen AI solutions, it's actually a big deal because um, Gen AI is evolving at a very fast pace, and the basic capabilities are perhaps a little bit more understood, but the way to implement those capabilities has been changing. So text summarization is there are 15 different ways to do that. There are mechanisms around RAG and combining that with knowledge graphs, etc. But what is really challenging is developing the guardrails for your specific process that you're looking at. So if it's, let's say, claims adjudication, how can you get into enabling the agent that is driving the claims adjudication process um, through the lifetime of the claim and be able to uh, pull up the right kinds of documentation and summarize and at a high level of accuracy, because this is really the claim will get approved or recommendations will be made on the basis of that document. It's also dependent on the ecosystem within the insurer. So we have worked with insurers who are, let's say, um, deployed with Azure, and within the Azure ecosystem, there are certain tool sets already available. Compare that with an AWS and a Bedrock and a SageMaker kind of environment. Different tool sets are available. So for anyone who's working within the generative AI space for an insurer, it's important to have the flexibility to be able to pick up whatever tool sets are available and implement solutions in that space.
Yeah.
And thirdly, it's important to be able to take a very MVP or a POC approach so that you can demonstrate some quick results and be able to drive broader adoption of your solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said there. So, Shiraz, my next question to you is how do you see insurers leveraging advanced analytics and AI to transform raw data into actionable insights? And what are some of the real world examples that you see when it comes to
Mhm.
successful implementation? Of course, we talk about, the amount of data that's available both in a raw format or some says in a structured or unstructured manner. But what really comes out to be useful is how we gather the right data that's being needed and how we make sense of it.
Certainly. I think I can take maybe about three different examples, and that might illustrate the kinds of focus that we were talking about. Um, the first one I think we've already touched upon when we started talking about claims adjudication. Um, what we're finding is that insurers really want to be able to take the claims process and improve it from from both perspectives, internal operations as well as customer facing customer experience that they're being able to deliver, um, while ensuring that they're able to spot instances of fraud and continuously evolve their processes. So that I think is the space where um, it is between advanced analytics and AI. I would say that the journey begins at advanced analytics and then progresses into different kinds of models that you develop along the way. So if I look at the internal ops side, generative AI based solutions are definitely coming up for being able to figure out across policy documents how can I search and identify the relevant areas of coverage and be able to combine that with what we are getting back from the patients, from the customers and members themselves about the treatments that have been authorized and that they are undertaking. The
Right.
second, I would say, is around plan comparison. So this was about claims. The second part of it would be, let's say, about how insurers themselves are responding to uh, multiple RFPs coming in from small businesses, small and medium businesses, about how their plans stack up against the incumbent plans that potential business customers have. And there again, it's highly relevant to be able to to be able to quickly develop a comparison of the incumbent plan versus the two or three plans which are most similar, and be able to do that in a very efficient way so that it compresses the overall RFP response timeline for insurers. The
Yeah.
third part, I would say, is leans more towards the CX side, where if we look at the acquisition journey, it's highly important to be able to segment your customers or your potential customer by understanding their intent, and in terms of understanding that intent, being able to deploy the kinds of campaigns that will actually improve the intent towards purchase or consuming a service versus detract from it, and use that in your decisioning for what the list pull for a campaign should be. And that again is an offering that we've seen considerable uptake with, called One Customer View. And we are seeing it kind of making a difference in the market, because we are trying to use knowledge graphs to be able to resolve entities, to be able to understand connections between customers and their different actions that they've taken and the different circumstances that they're in. And so if I were to zoom back up, I think in claims there is a significant impact of the kinds of advanced analytics and AI solutions in responding to RFPs for large insurers. And then thirdly, in terms across all kinds of customer interactions, there is a significant need to improve CX, which is being addressed through advanced analytics, knowledge graphs, AI, and similar solutions.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely interesting when there's particular aspects of knowledge graphs, which is, really becoming relevant when it comes to AI and analytics. And it's very interesting to understand how insurers are really going to leverage these uh, technologies to solve the real problem that they face across the value chain. And of course, take vendors like Latent View and how they're really coming in to solve such problems for these insurance companies. Having said and discussed about the real problem statements, how Gen AI, knowledge graphs, analytics are really coming in the picture, what challenges do insurance organizations typically face when developing and optimizing their data strategies? And according to you, what steps do you think they should be taking to overcome these barriers? Of course, with the objective of enhancing their data governance and utilizing best practices.
Certainly. I think, again, if we look at it from the perspective of start from the perspective of the customer and work our way towards the operations, insurers are at varying levels of maturity in terms of their ability to respond to the customers. Some are really known for being tech forward organizations, whereas others are struggling with legacy approaches, and also in terms of how they execute, they are organized either more towards an in-house problem solving approach, versus others rely on a best of breed approach to outsourcing problems to the best of providers. So what we find in terms of key challenges is, one, I think being able to engage with the customer in these times when pricing is going through the roof, being able to demonstrate the value of one's own offering vis-a-vis the competition, and therefore convert the customer and then retain the customer through the kind of service, and distinguish one's offering through that service is where it's at. And then, in order to fulfill that requirement of being able to offer above par service is to be able to drive efficiency in their own operations and improve things like the claims to payout ratio and others. And what is especially interesting to me in this space is how some companies are taking a very AI forward approach to be able to solve this. I was at NVIDIA GTC in March of this year, and one very interesting presentation about insurance was how a lot of the top insurers are actually taking the whole claims adjudication process, especially in auto insurance, and they're being able to break it down. They're being able to outsource the decisioning of significant part of the significant proportion of the claims to a company that specializes in being able to consume video and offer instant decisioning on maybe 60-70% of that. And the way they're doing that is being able to firstly build out computer vision models which are able to look at 60 to 70 different parts of the automobile and understand whether there is or is not a dent or a defect that has been caused by an accident, but then also putting it through a risk and fraud guardrail to be able to figure out if link that up with existing customer data and understand where there might be a higher or lower risk of this being a fraudulent claim, and thereby passing on an adjudication message back to the insurer and solving it. So we are seeing the emergence of some of these more specialized players also to be able to address the overall ask for becoming more highly efficient in this and leveraging AI and analytics to do so.
Yeah, yeah. So when you really talk about data strategies and how it really goes wrong, especially in the BFSI sector, among all the mentioned areas that we really come across, inconsistency is one of the very relevant and kind of a very known problem, but not much has been done in the area, right? So primarily when you say there the actuaries part, if you look at advanced systems that processes data of their various models that's being processed there and by the actuaries, data scientists. So in the process, there's plenty of unstructured data that comes in, right? So it perhaps can be from the claims angle, from the underwriting side. So there's a lot of inconsistencies that really comes in the process, and of course there's data which is not in an it comes in an unstructured manner. The volume of data that is generated, there are various other technologies, resources, sources through where the data comes in. So how do you really think tech can be utilized to solve the inconsistency of data, which really if it comes with a magical solution, of course it will really take two part. One is the cost and one is the time, which of course equals efficiency.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, actually. There are a couple of ways in which I think we can look at it. One is a lot of the inconsistency is around unstructured data, as you rightly pointed out. And I think we're very fortunate to live in a world where large language models have evolved over the last couple of years to a point where a lot of their results are based off of unstructured, and therefore we're seeing a lot of the effort around fine-tuning large language models. A lot of the large organizations today have evaluated various ways, right? Take an open source LLM, build your own LLM from scratch, etc. And most companies have come out with the approach where they're buying into an LLM that is available. So let's say a Gemini, or let's say Azure OpenAI, ChatGPT or thereabouts. But then they're fine tuning and customizing it, and then mandating their organization to use that particular fine tuned LLM across all use cases. It's a great way to be able to standardize some of the inconsistencies and start seeing uh, some uniformity in terms of the kinds of answers that are being uh, generated, but also be able to baseline performance and then measure off of that, because measurability in these early days is very important for being able to develop further. The second part of it, I think, other than inconsistency, I think the challenge is also around governance. So as we're generating more and more data, it's highly important to be able to a figure out role-based access, b figure out lineage, and drive some of that. Now, solutions are available. A lot of our customers we see using Libra as an example, but there is always more to be done in data governance and even model governance now that generative AI models are being built out, mechanistic approaches are being taken, and then agent based approaches dictate that your overall generative AI solution then goes into leveraging specific agent models to be able to complete certain tasks. So, an excellent example is a virtual assistant, or VA as they call it, for banking, for consumer banking. All banks are pursuing some flavor of VAs, and it's definitely getting better. But that combination of the LLM and then making a call to specific agent-based models is is a framework or an approach that is consistently being continuously being refined today. But it's an amazing area where we're seeing weekly and daily innovations, and I think it's incumbent upon any entity working in this space, ourselves included, to be able to stay abreast of the technology. We're very happy that we are, working with some of the leaders like NVIDIA, for instance, to be able to understand how compute can be accelerated, as well as some of these problems of inconsistency in data, unstructured data, delivering efficiency, delivering customer experience can be approached
Yeah.
by unlocking compute capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, of course, the more we try to experiment and bring in the best practices really at the forefront of the industry, I think we would then really get the hang of such real life problems that not just insurers but across industries are facing when it comes to data, right? And we are in a world that we are really moving on from a data first strategy to an AI first strategy. So it's more on how we leverage technologies like AI and, of course, its components like Gen AI and others. So with that, Shreyas, a fabulous discussion, very, very well thought out insights there, fantastic discussion, and of course, thank you very much for your time this evening. I truly like.
Thank you so much, Surya. Indeed, great experience. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more from Insurtech story.
Thank you so much. And lastly, to wrap this up, you are listening to the Insurtech Story podcast, and see you at our next episode. Till then, take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now. But also, before we end, would like to announce that Insurtech Story podcast was ranked recently as the top 20 Insurtech podcast globally. And we thank our listeners and our guest speakers and, of course, our partners for this remarkable achievements and your support in this journey. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon in our next episode.